Welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast, where we're joined by your hosts, Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. In each episode, we'll be sharing valuable insights and tips to help you turn your NDIS business into a profitable venture. So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, you've come to the right place. Let's stop surviving and start thriving.
Welcome guys, here we are, the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with your hosts, Tania and Paul.
Hi Tania, great to be here.
It's so exciting, our first episode of this podcast together. So much to tell everybody about and so many exciting topics to talk about.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a really good time, and we really want to bring a lot of value to the industry, helping people who are really passionate about helping people with disabilities to live a better life, but also for them to run their own business really well so they can achieve the things that they want to.
Absolutely, yes. Totally passionate about helping providers to do the best businesses that they can. And coming from an early childhood background myself, I have seen the internal conflict in providers around this idea of being profitable, and that almost they shouldn't be profitable because they don't want to profit off this work, because it isn't a job, it's a calling, it's a vocation, it's what they live and breathe to do and what they were put on this earth to do. So this idea of being, profitable is almost a naughty word. And I saw that very much when I worked with childcare centre owners, helping them in their businesses, and I see that all the time in disability. And I think that's something that the name of this podcast is somewhat maybe provocative in that sense, that we're talking about profit first and foremost, but for me, a business has to be profitable to be sustainable and successful. And for me, that's really what it's about, running a business that can give back, can be your mission and your life's calling, while at the same time providing you with an income and other people. I in my businesses, I employ about 85 people, and if I didn't have a profitable business, I couldn't do that. I couldn't provide those opportunities to those people or live my mission and give back to people. So yeah, absolutely. Profitable NDIS Provider is what it's all about. Profitable, sustainable and successful.
Fantastic. And I think the word profitable has had a bit of a burning around it, because a lot of people in the industry have definitely worked for larger organizations where it's all about the profit.
Yeah. And
the profit's the end goal. And they've got a board of directors, they've got to meet, they've got to have share dividends and all that sort of stuff. And so it all comes down to, the client being a number, and even the staff members being a number to generate profit in the business. But being profitable is about being sustainable, as you said, in the business. And when you are profitable, you can do more with your business. So there's got to be a sync up between profitable and being client-centered, and that way you can really build a business that's going to help a lot of people, but also look after you, your family, and help you achieve your goals and dreams as well.
Absolutely. So Paul, tell all of our lovely listeners about yourself. What is your background? Why have you come into the NDIS or the disability space, and what is it that you're passionate about?
Yeah, look, I didn't start in the disability space. In fact, I've had a cabinet and furniture business for about 17 years. And, starting out in there at 25, starting my business, I really found that, helping people in a different way was something I really enjoyed. And I did that through cabinetry and furniture. But then I actually started working with, other business owners around their business, because my business was doing quite well. And I really enjoyed the idea of coaching businesses. Now, flash forward a number of years, I started working with a friend of mine who actually is a provider in the industry. And I saw that mess we were talking about before, where there's big businesses who are driven by profits and smaller businesses who are driven by nurses, support workers, people who really want to make a difference, but just didn't have the skills or the knowledge or the understanding to build a business that was sustainable and wasn't really going to make it really difficult for them to live. So I really started developing systems and programs and having a lot of conversations about helping people to put things in place in their business so they didn't overwork themselves, but they were still providing fantastic service to their clients and making a profitable business.
Wonderful. That's really complements my skill set in so many ways. So I've run businesses a really long time. I had my first business when I was, we joke that my first business was when I was 8 years old, but as an adult, my first business was when I was 21, and I set up it started as a babysitting agency and grew into a recruitment agency for childcare centres and respite centres and disability. And I sold that when I was 26, but I've always really worked in the education space, being a teacher by background, and always worked with children with special needs and really loved seeing those. With all children, I love seeing those milestones of, seeing a child take their first steps, seeing them learn those words, all that song that you've taught them. But with children with disability, you would work with them for a long time on reaching their goals, and it was always very rewarding to see a 7-year-old boy with cerebral palsy to take his first step when you had spent years getting to that place. And I worked in the RTO space and worked in quality and compliance spaces and helped a lot of people transition when the NDIS came around in 2013. And then started a consultancy, Provider Plus, that is now has 4,000 NDIS providers that they serve. I'm no longer involved with Provider Plus, but have definitely seen all angles of providers from the very, on their first day of registration and supporting them through their growth. And I'm really passionate about helping people use their business as a way to give back and make a difference. And the NDIS does that so well. I am an NDIS auditor as well, and I always tell people not to hold that against me because I'm one of the nice ones, maybe. I don't know if my audit clients would say that, but the clients that I consult for, I'm sure would say that I'm one of the good ones.
So I've got some really fun news to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Is that it didn't actually start recording.
Oh, good. All right, start again.
But I think that worked really well.
Yeah.
And any notes off that?
Yeah, I think maybe we need to. I don't know, but I think the profitable stuff is good. I like talking about that, but I don't know if we need to first talk about what the podcast is about before we talk about what the name's about. I don't know, what do you think?
I think we need to header it and then more so go introducing ourselves.
Yeah, okay.
More than profitable.
Yeah, okay. I agree. So we just say, welcome to the podcast. We're glad for you to join us. It's been developed to assist providers throughout their journey as providers, as business people, to run profitable businesses.
Yes. Yep.
And then you do your intro, I'll do my intro, then we'll talk about why the podcast, and then we can talk about the whole profitable thing.
Yeah, cool. So
why profitable? Why the NDIS Profitable Provider is the name. And then, so maybe in your first intro, we'll just talk about you as a business coach, and then we'll go into your story after the podcast one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just Paul is a...
So that'll be Paul more, and then we'll go into Tania more.
Yeah,
afterwards.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's go again. That was good practice.
It was a good practice. All right, let's make that work. And we're recording.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with your hosts, Tania and Paul.
Just going to stop it there because I don't think the level's quite high enough.
These ones?
No, this one here.
Okay, go again.
Okay.
Hello there, and welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with your hosts, Paul and Tania.
Sorry. Just don't think it's actually getting enough. That's why it was so quiet before. I just feel like there should be more signal there.
Do these need to go up?
That's our sound coming here.
Oh, okay. That one?
That's the Bluetooth out. Hello, 1 2 1 2. Record level. Turn it up. And there's the pan, and that's crank that all the way up there. All right. Oh, sorry. That my apologies. That's the input, and that's the ears. So how's that Volume for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
So that needs to be higher.
Yeah, so that one higher, and then that should be good. Okay. And one more time.
Hello there, and welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with your hosts, Paul and Tania.
Hi, Tania. Great to be here, and oh my goodness, I should be in charge of this thing. I get stressed out. All right.
Go again?
Yeah, sorry. Get there eventually.
I'm glad it's you and not me.
Where's the everything back to one? All right. Hi, welcome to the podcast. Paul and Tania. Hi, Tania. Great to be here, and I'm really excited for what we're about to start doing. All right.
Hello there, and welcome to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with your hosts, Paul and Tania.
Hi, Tania. Great to be here. I'm really excited for launching our podcast.
Yes, absolutely, our first episode. So welcome everyone to the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast. This podcast is being developed by Paul and myself to really talk about NDIS providers' journeys as they go through the NDIS landscape as business people, and also to help them run profitable businesses.
Absolutely. One of those things about having a business is managing it really well, not just providing the services. The better you manage the business, the better you can provide services. So we love to help businesses to run a profitable business and have a good time doing it.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Paul, tell us a little bit more about yourself so that all of our lovely listeners get to understand your background and I suppose what perspective you're bringing to this podcast.
Fantastic. Yes, so I have been a business coach for about 7 years now, working with a number of different businesses in different areas. But for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been working predominantly within the NDIS, helping providers to understand the business landscape. You know, a lot of people coming from being nurses and support workers, not having a business background. So developing processes for the businesses to be able to operate well and grow, but also provide fantastic service.
Amazing. Great.
And what about yourself?
So I run Tania Gomez Consulting, and we make NDIS compliance and quality easy. And I might go as far as saying fun. And I'm an NDIS auditor in the space, and I've been working in the NDIS space for many years. I founded Provider Plus in 2017, or co-founded, Provider Plus. And now that I am no longer involved with Provider Plus, I'm working directly with NDIS providers myself to help them run compliant, high quality and successful businesses. And that's what I'm really passionate about. So I'm hoping that I can bring my auditor brain, my compliance and quality brain, but I've also owned and operated businesses since my 20s, and hopefully some of what I've learned is transferable to our listeners.
Oh, I think absolutely it will be.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. So, Paul, I know we've had lots of conversations, but for our listeners, what is this podcast about, and why should people listen to us?
Yeah, look, this podcast is really going to be around building and developing a business within the space of the NDIS that not only helps participants to, reach their goals, and you're going to be providing services, but as the name says, be profitable in that process as well. Running a profitable business means that you can do more, you can help more people, and also live the life that you want to live as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know very much from the providers that I've worked with and working in the community health space for my career, that sometimes the word profitable is seen as a bit of a naughty word. Why is it that we chose the Profitable NDIS Provider? Do we want to, talk about this idea that profit isn't a bad thing, that we need profit in a business so that it's sustainable and can meet its objectives as a business, as its own living and breathing entity?
Well, the purpose of any business is actually to generate a profit, because if it's not going to be a business for very long.
Yeah.
And so profit always has to be in the mind of a business owner, and how they're generating profit, what their profit margins are in the business. Bearing in mind that profits aren't the end goal of the business, really helping the clients to reach their goals is what you want your business to focus on. But profits are a fantastic measurement tool for any business to understand its health and what it's capable of doing in the future and how it will grow.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have a profitable business, it's not sustainable.
Absolutely.
You can't help more people. You can't give job opportunities to people, and it really limits what you can do. And you know, cash and cash flow is really important. If you don't have cash flow, you know, they always say that that cash is king, that turnover or revenue is just vanity. It's really around making a profitable business so that you have enough cash in that business to, you know, move into a new area, whether you're a disability support worker and you want to move into operating a SIL house. All of that takes cash, and without running a profitable business and understanding how profit works, you're not able to use your revenue to diversify your business or grow your business, or even just have a buffer there for when you've had a bad month.
Yes, absolutely. It does give you peace of mind also knowing that you're not running by the bones, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be, I've spoken to a lot of providers who are going, I don't know how I'm going to pay my workers next week because we're running at such a tight margin, and you're hoping that, you know, that next payment will come in.
Yeah, I've been there.
That's a horrible place to be. I've been there myself as well, right? So having that margin in your business and having a profit buffer really means that you're able to do a lot more and be able to serve a lot more and even be a lot more generous in your business and how it operates.
Yes, absolutely. I'm hoping in this podcast also that we'll be able to share some inspiring stories of providers that we both work with, and use their journey and their stories to help other people, and showcase some insights and advice around tips to grow your business, to have a sustainable business, and from my perspective also make sure that we're talking about compliance as the foundation of business success, and you know, using as the concrete or the foundations for growing your business upon.
I think that's really important because your business can be doing really well and really profitable, but if it's not also very compliant and you are really checking all the boxes that the NDIA require, you can end yourself up in some hot water.
Yeah, absolutely. And just cause yourself undue stress and pressure and waste a lot of money in the process. It can be very expensive unnecessarily. So Paul, I'm interested now to know a little bit more about you and your journey. I understand that you're a business coach and you help, you know, amazing providers, but why NDIS, and where did your journey begin?
Yeah, so my journey definitely did not start in NDIS. In fact, for the last 17 years, 18 years, I've actually had a cabinet making and furniture business. And that grew quite well, and not for the lack of me trying to kill it a few times, but you know, after a while I got a coach of my own, started developing the business, and people started asking me for help with theirs because they saw what I was doing and they wanted to do something similar. So I started actually coaching and mentoring some people, which really grew into a passion of mine as I started doing it. So for the last 4 years, I've actually been certified as a business coach and consultant, and working primarily in the NDIS, mainly because I started working with a friend of mine who is a provider here in Perth, and I saw the mess that the NDIS was, and the amount of providers who genuinely cared about their clients. They were nurses, support workers, but just didn't have those tools and systems in place to run a business that was going to last the test of time. So I wanted to be able to come in, provide some help to those people, and I actually ended up developing a couple of programs. I love working in group situations, and so we developed some networking groups, we developed some training groups to help providers to grow a business that was not only profitable, but remained client-centered for a very long time.
Yeah, wonderful. Wow, it sounds like you've had quite a journey and, you know, learned quite a lot about what providers do in the space.
Tell me, Tania, how did you get started?
Yeah, so I've been working in the NDIS since the rollout in the trial sites in New South Wales in 2013, I think it was. And I started my career many years ago as an early childhood teacher and gravitated naturally to children with additional needs. specialised in working with children with additional needs in their school settings. But then I ended up working in large not-for-profit organisations with working with children at risk of harm. They had an RTO, and I also ran the RTO for 7 years, and I grew that RTO from 3 students to almost 10,000 students over 7 years. And was on the board of their organisation, and they had a disability provider, childcare centres and an RTO. And I learned all about the transition to the NDIS, and then I was looking to move on from that role after 8 years in the seat, and found out I was pregnant just as I got a CEO's role. And I felt I couldn't be CEO with having my 3rd child, and I had tried hard to have that 3rd child. So I just started helping the clients that I knew and people that I knew in the industry transitioning their businesses over to the NDIS. And then I found a bit of a niche and started Provider Plus, which today serves over 4,000 NDIS providers. I sold my interest in Provider Plus just last week, actually, and no longer involved with that business. And now I'm working directly with clients, helping them with quality and compliance. I became an NDIS auditor in 2019 and have probably done a couple of 100 audits. My husband's an NDIS auditor, and my 2 best friends are NDIS auditors.
It runs in the family.
Yes, well, yeah, we're all really passionate. My husband comes from a hospital setting, but we're all really passionate about helping people who help people, and really spreading that impact. And as an auditor, I became an auditor so I could learn the standards inside and out, because I'm someone that absorbs information and loves it. So I became an auditor so I could bring that knowledge to my clients, and I consult way more than I audit, but I love being an auditor as well. I love the process of seeing inside people's businesses and looking under the hood and poking around and really learning the lessons that they've learned. I think I learn more from every audit than, the audit side of it is great, but I really learn a lot about business. And about their businesses and what models work and how it operates and what doesn't work, and learn from their failures so that I can keep that in my mind for when I'm consulting.
Absolutely. I think one of the best moments that you can have, in this sort of space is when you're working with a client and they get that aha moment.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, it was simple. I've made it so difficult in my head.
Yes.
And they just have that switch that turns over because of how you've presented some information, or how you've shown them how to go through those processes. And I can only imagine, I've not been through an audit process myself, I can only imagine on the outside it looks exceptionally stressful.
It is exceptionally stressful. Yeah, I often say that as a consultant in the space, I'm more of a counsellor than I am a consultant. Giving them the information is one thing, and yes, I know the information, but helping them digest it and break it into those little chunks and guide them and hold their hand through the process is actually the most valuable part of what I do. It's connecting with that person, holding them in your hands and guiding them through the process. And I hope that I remove that stress for them, because they know now they've got an expert in their corner, and there's someone that's there with them that understands the process. It's especially at their first audit, it's all the unknown that creates that stress, and them not understanding what they can do to prepare themselves. And I see 2 things. I see people who do all of this preparation for months and over prepare and over stress themselves out, and their businesses can't operate during that period because everything has stopped, and then they stop providing good care during that period. Or I see people who do no preparation at all and completely bomb an audit, and then instead of their audit costing them 3,000 or 4,000, it ends up costing them 10,000 or 20,000 because they have to keep doing audits because they failed at audit. And I usually get people think they don't need compliance help until they fail at audit and they're going to lose their registration, and then they reach out, and often it's 6 months too late. And I can help, but it's more stressful for me, it's more stressful for them. And if we started 6 months earlier, we could have made it a really smooth process. And really focus on compliance being a positive experience that helps you understand the weaknesses in your business so you can fix the weaknesses and have a really strong business. We focus on improving our marketing and on our staff and on our professional development, but we often don't see compliance as an area that we can professionally develop in as a way to minimize risk of non-conformances or risk of issues at audit. So yes, I'm very passionate about quality and compliance being part of business, but I do it commercially so that it isn't a burden, because some compliance people, some auditors that I'm friends with and work with and admire, they add too many hurdles in a business, and compliance.
Absolutely.
You have to get the business model working first and do the compliance around the business model. The other way doesn't work commercially. You can't run a business if you've got, 5 administration people and 1 person delivering supports. It doesn't work. There's not enough margins.
I think you hit the nail on the head just there before, where you spoke about being proactive in those situations. Because as you said, leaving it till the last minute or waiting until there's a problem is a really stressful position to be in. And it just causes so much extra cost eating your profits. And so much extra work, which really takes away from your services. So whether it's compliance or business development, or how you have systems in your business to make sure the things happen that need to happen, being that proactive person in the business is really a must.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
otherwise you're going to end up behind the 8 ball all the time.
And it's really a mindset thing, really, and that's where business coaching comes into it. It really is preparing their mindset for working in a government regulated space where the government can change their mind on anything at any minute. They can change what you're being paid. They can change how you do things, what you're allowed to say and do. And I worked in the vocational education sector for many years, and I have another business in that space. And that is really the most challenging thing, is this lack of control. And it is all a mindset and how you see it. If you welcome those opportunities, you welcome it as an opportunity to be a better provider, and you go, right, other people struggle with this. My point of difference is that this is going to be easy for me, and I'm going to get all of that right in the beginning so that I can continue to grow and scale my business and focus on the things you want to. I understand not many people want to focus on quality all the time, and they shouldn't have to. It should just be what happens in the background if you set things up right the first time. And then you have no limitations to growth. You have no limitations to scale. And I like compliance, but I love scaling businesses. I love growing businesses. I love seeing when you start a business, like the college I spoke of, there was 3 students when I started, 10,000 students when I left. There was 1 course we taught when I started, 10 courses in 5 states and 3 countries when I left. And that growth and that journey through what you learn as a person and the journey you go on to be that kind of person is what I'm really passionate about. And hopefully we were able to share these stories, but also many other stories of providers in this podcast to help people really understand how to be a profitable provider, and how to make sure that we still have ethical practices while making profits in the space.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to when we actually have a few people that we've worked with come on the podcast and share their stories about where they started, the problems that they were going through, and how they actually worked through those processes to never have those problems happen again.
Yes.
Because having that load off your mind really means that you can focus on your services, your clients, and looking after your staff as well.
Absolutely, yes. Now, that's probably about all we have time for today, but should we talk quickly and give a bit of a sneak peek about our next episode that is coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty excited for this because I'm going to interview you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
so we're
exciting.
going to get really into what compliance looks like, how that works for a business, how to be prepared for it. And I know you have so much experience and probably some horror stories, but hopefully also some fantastic success stories that we can talk about, and what that compliance role looks like and how it applies to any provider, whether you're registered or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So thanks everyone for joining us today. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode around NDIS compliance and registration.
Fantastic. See you next time.
Yeah, see you then.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Profitable NDIS Provider podcast with Tania Gomez and Paul Bryan. We hope you found today's episode informative and valuable. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating, and share it with others who could benefit from our insights. Until next time, keep thriving.